Good morning. We are on location with Aimee Cassie, Executive Director of the Spirit of the North
CEO of
Healthcare
Spirit of the
Foundation.
North Healthcare Foundation.
CEO of the Spirit of the North Healthcare Foundation. Aimee, it's great to have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
I'm excited too because I only recently met you, and like all my guests, I only recently met them. But I know a lot about Spirit of the North, and it seems like every time I work with somebody from there, I learn something new. And it's a huge organization. It's way
is.
bigger than I expected.
Yeah, it's surprisingly big, and the work that we do is actually quite surprising.
And it's really important.
It is.
That's one of the things I like about these local community. It's just an organization. It's not a business, right? It's just an organization.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're a nonprofit. So we work to, how I describe it to people is, we work to bridge the gap for funding. We know that the provincial government doesn't cover all of the medical equipment and programs that we need right across the province, but our aim is to focus specifically on Northern Health, the Northern region, the same area that Northern Health covers. So we cover Prince George. A lot of what we do is in Prince George, but then we also service all of the communities surrounding Prince George, basically the northern half of the province. And so we get to come in and bring in and work with our donors to bring in and fund medical equipment that otherwise wouldn't be in these communities. And a lot of that work is advocacy, pushing to bring different services to our communities, and making sure that people in the North have the level of care that they deserve.
Yeah, it's really important, and it's nice to see the community, like how involved the community is, like to kind of take over where, like I don't want to make this political, but where like government falls short, right?
Yep.
Like we should have all the equipment we need up here, but it's the community, it's the people up here that are making it possible.
It
right?
absolutely is. I think that's one thing that that we can say time and time and time again about Northern BC, about Prince George and all of our communities, is that we see the gap and we work to close that gap. They did it with the opening of the cancer clinic years ago. Now we're getting world-class cancer treatments in Prince George, and that is servicing all of the North. That is huge. And so we've got some big work ahead of us, some significant gaps that we need to work to close. But I have no doubt that the tenacity, the determination, and the passion of the people from the North, we will close those gaps that need to be closed and bring that very best in care to all of our communities and closer to home.
Yeah. I was just at an evening in India. I got an invite to that. And wow, like what a huge, amazing event that was.
It was our first time trialing that event. So it had been done years ago, and then of course COVID hits and everything changes. And so Sonika Kandola is on our board, and that was her event for a number of years. And so she wanted to bring it back, and we wanted to direct it to cardiac care. And so that's exactly what she and the team did, and it was a great event. We were so happy to see it back, and bringing in Delhi to Dublin they're incredible. They're so good. And we were really pleased with the event. And it's in the events world, it's neat to do something a little bit different.
Yeah. One of the things that I liked about that event that I found unexpected was how good Delhi to Dublin was. Like
right?
They were phenomenal, and they were such a different sound that I've ever heard before.
Yes.
And and when they started playing, everybody was just up on the stage, and they were, or not on the stage, but out on the floor dancing. And
they are phenomenal. So they were warming up, so doing their sound check beforehand, and they were just goofing around playing, and it was so great. So you could tell right from the beginning, like, okay, this is going to be great. They're phenomenal. They just a different style, and everybody engages with it. It was so fun, and so it's something that we look forward to again.
Yeah, and the food was great.
Food was amazing.
Yeah.
Can't beat that. So I have to give a shout out to Civic Center. They did a phenomenal job with the food this time, and they do every time. But this one was really good, a different menu, and they knocked it out of the park.
Oh yeah, nice. Now, one of the other events you have is a Harley Davidson raffle.
Yeah.
Right. That one I kind of just caught the end of it. I didn't really see how it all came together, but
yeah.
Can you tell me about that?
Absolutely. So that one's a really fun one. That is put on by the Prince George Firefighters Association. So they put it together every year. They've done it for a number of years. And the group gets together, they raffle off a Harley Davidson. They sell in Costco through the holiday season. They sell the tickets. And then we draw in the spring and someone rides away with a brand new Harley. And then the group, the firefighters, they're incredible. They work to decide where that money is going to go. So they usually pick a project, or they always pick a project for what they're going to fund. So they've done giraffe care stations. They've done tons of equipment for our pediatrics department at UHNBC. They've done lots with cardiac care. This time they were working to support the histology department. So that is basically different diagnoses that take place in the lab. They needed enhancement on some of the equipment, and so the firefighters said, yep, absolutely, we're in, that's what we'll support. And so all the proceeds from that raffle go to directly supporting that department with the purchase of new equipment. So I can't say enough good things about how amazing the firefighters are to work with, and they put their time in to sell the tickets. They engage with the community. It's just, I think it's a fan favorite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a really neat one, and that motorcycle is amazing.
It's so nice. This year was really nice. I really liked this one.
Yeah, I know. Amanda called me up and she's like, "You want to buy a ticket?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll buy some tickets. Okay."
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
And then I looked at it online, thinking like I don't know, I'll give it to my dad or something, right? And I looked at it online. I was like, "Ooh, that's a pretty nice motorcycle."
I might keep that one.
I might just go get my motorcycle license and keep it for myself. Yeah.
No, it was
Yeah.
great. The gentleman that won was out of Fort St. James, I believe. I think he was from Fort St. James. And didn't have a license, so he was going to get his license this spring, and super excited. You could just, it was like a little kid on Christmas morning. He was so excited when he picked up the bike. It was pretty
Oh.
cool.
And so much open road out that way.
Gorgeous.
That would
So
be
gorgeous.
That would be nice. Yeah.
He'll have a good summer.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I didn't realize that the firefighters chose where the funding went.
Yeah.
That's even kind of makes it a little more special. Eh?
It does, and a lot of the things that we do with Spirit, people can direct where they want that funding to go. So we're always working on big pieces of equipment, but people have the ability to say, cancer care is really important to me, so I want to do something that supports cancer care at UHNBC. And we work with the teams on the ground to look at what equipment is needed. And then we work to support that equipment. So right now we're, for Spirit Day that's coming up, we're working on a liver retractor. So that'll be a new service that's offered in Prince George for cancer patients, for people that are facing pancreatic cancer, liver cancer, people that are requiring Whipple procedures to be done. This will be a new piece of equipment for the region. And it's got a hefty price tag on it. I believe it's just over 90,000 for the piece of equipment.
Wow.
But it'll have a huge impact on the capabilities and what we're able to do in the north.
Yeah. So when a new piece of equipment comes, I guess they need to bring trained technicians and staff. And
It is. So that's one of the, so we work really closely with Northern Health. We're not funded by Northern Health. We are not government funded. We are totally funded by our donors. But what we do is we work in partnership with Northern Health. So yes, you can get a great piece of equipment, but you need the staff to operate it. So we never, we always work in partnership with them to make sure that the piece of equipment that we're bringing in, yes, they have staff to use it. So the liver retractor, for instance, there's 2 new surgeons coming to Prince George, and they will be the ones that will be using that new piece of equipment. So it's kind of this ongoing conversation to see what the needs are, what staffing levels are at, can we fill this gap, and then we work to bring that equipment here. And it just, I think, we look at putting tools in the hands of healthcare professionals. That is our aim, is to make sure that they have all the tools necessary to bring that very best care to our patients right across the region.
yeah, what is it about Prince George that makes it so difficult to get surgeons and people here? Because I know
That's a tough one. I think, I think the remote communities it's a struggle. But I would argue born and raised in Prince George, I think it's the most beautiful part of not just BC, but part of Canada. We live in the most unique and beautiful part of the country. But one of the things that makes us really unique is how the distances between our communities, they're so vast. So we don't face the same issues that they face down in the Lower Mainland, where, Surrey is relatively close to North Van and White Rock, and they're pretty close, where in the north, we've got huge length of travel between our communities. So we have to think outside the box. One of the things that we did last year that I think was really cool was a mobile ultrasound program. So thanks to one of our funders, one of our donors, we were able to purchase 3 mobile ultrasounds, and those ultrasounds travel with from sonographers that are based in 3 different communities across the north, but they travel into our very remote communities to bring diagnostics, so ultrasounds, to these communities that otherwise wouldn't have them. And so they're on a rotation, and it's just it's a way for us to think outside the box. And you know, an ultrasound is a basic first line level of care, and this is a way that we can bring that basic first level line of care to our communities and work with the distances between them. But it's a challenge that we face up here all the time.
Yeah. Is that like a typical ultrasound, like a pregnancy ultrasound? Or?
Yeah, they actually, so they've used it on many patients, but we had one mother reach out to us, and she's from a very remote community, and she said, I just want you to know this is the first time I've been pregnant and I haven't had to leave my community and travel to Prince George for an ultrasound.
Oh, wow.
And this is her 4th baby. And so I think that in and of itself, that's huge for the north, that we can bring those services to these communities. Because, you know, in the summertime, traveling to Prince George isn't as big of a deal. But if you're looking at, you know, December and winter road conditions, and it's not safe for people. So we really have to work to bring these services to them.
Yeah. And you're right, like, it's a basic piece of equipment. I didn't think that they wouldn't be everywhere.
Neither did I. So when I started at Spirit, I had no idea that not every community had ultrasounds. So when they were talking to us about this program, I kept questioning, well, don't we have this in these communities? And no, there's not ultrasounds in all of our communities. We don't have sonographers in every community. So this is a way that we can work within the problem that we've currently got to work to solve it right away. And so this program is working really well, and one of those things that we're really excited about, and just I think a little bit innovative. I think it's a model that we can take into a lot of other pieces of equipment that we do. How do we make this something that's mobile that can go to these different communities where we may not always have a sonographer, we may not always have this specialist? How do we bring them to these communities?
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay, there's one piece of equipment I know you're really passionate about getting in Prince George. PET scanner?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, so prior to working with Spirit of the North, I was with the Canadian Cancer Society, and I lost my mom to cancer. And so for a lot of years I fundraised for places like Quarterband Lodge, which are incredible. I mean, they just do incredible work and provide a home away from home for a lot of our families that have to travel. But cancer touches so many lives, and mine is no different. And I think if we can bring a PET scanner to Prince George, we're saving a lot of people that level of travel. We're saving a lot of people wait times, significant wait times. And it's something that is a dream of ours to bring here one day. Nothing is concrete, nothing is in the works right now, but it's definitely something that we've got on our radar that we really want to work to bring here.
Okay. I have no idea what it is, Your Honor.
Yeah, so it basically supports radiation, to make sure that they're doing radiation in the exact spot where they need to be doing the radiation. And you know, again, if you live in a larger community, they've got them in Kelowna and they've got them down in the Lower Mainland. It's you know, you're on a wait list still, but you go in, you get the scan done, and then figure out from there what type of treatment you need for your cancer. In the north, our patients are going through, as everybody, going through a really trying time, but then they have to figure out, okay, how am I getting down to Kelowna? I have to take time off work. I have to figure out my travel down there. I have to figure out my accommodation while I'm there, and then I have to get back home. And for a lot of us, we're very fortunate that we can figure those things out. But so many families and so many patients in the region are not in that position. It's, you know, financially, it's just not possible for them to do it. And so that's something that we really need to bridge. That's a gap we need to bridge. So that's my one day, our dream is to bring a PET scan here.
Yeah, yeah. There's another important piece of equipment I'm surprised isn't here, because I had 2 family members just this year had to go down to Kelowna for the angiogram.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cardiac care, yes.
And it was crazy because both of them, it was like it happened. Like they had to book the trip, book time off work,
Yeah.
drive down to Kelowna, and 20 minutes later they were done.
It's wild. It's,
Yeah.
so we are the only healthcare or health region that doesn't have interventional cardiac care. So all of northern BC, we don't have that interventional care. So one of the things that we are passionately working towards is bringing an interventional cardiac space to Prince George. We've done a lot of work with cardiac care over the last 4 years. It's been our primary area of focus. So we were able to open the first cardiac care unit at UHNBC. I always say to people, it's in its infancy. It's like planting a seed, and we've just started to grow that department. So it's an area where all of our cardiac patients are cohorted into one area under one team. That's a big step forward for us. So we were really, really thankful to be able to equip that unit. So that was just over $1 million in funding. But that's the first step. We've got long-term goals of bringing that interventional cardiac care, being able to do angios locally in Prince George. Right now, a patient is coming from Prince Rupert after a heart attack or cardiac incident. They're triaging in Prince George, and then if a bed's available, then they're going down to St. Paul's, Victoria, or to Kelowna.
Yeah.
And the north doesn't hold a bed, so there's not a bed that's always held for northern patients. It's when a bed is available, we can transfer patients down. And again, summertime, okay, that's doable, but wintertime, you get winter storms. We can't fly, certain times things are grounded. We can't medevac patients down. It's a big issue, and for Northern Health to be the only region that doesn't have that level of care is it's disappointing. And so it's one thing that we are really working to close, and that is one of the focuses of the acute care tower that's coming to Prince George.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. That finally, right?
Finally,
Yeah.
we need it.
Yeah. And it's still going to be years and years away. But,
Yeah,
but
it's a huge investment in the north. It's a huge, massive endeavor. But the areas that it's going to serve, I think there is huge gaps in care that we need to start working to close. It's going to be a long time, but everything is starting to build up to that. We've got our first team of cardiac nurses that are graduating that will be working on the cardiac care unit that we've currently got. And again, it's planting the seed. It's that first step, and we've got to start. And so really excited that we've started there, but we've got long-term goals in mind, and want to keep patients here. We got to keep them in the north.
Yeah, for sure. And even going from, Terrace to Prince George, you are staying localer, but you're still
Yep.
so far away.
You're still
Yeah.
so far from home, so far from your friends and family. We personally, my father-in-law he had to have a pacemaker inserted, so he was treated at St. Paul's, and they do phenomenal work at St. Paul's. And I believe it was January. And so they medevaced him down, and my mother-in-law flew down, and then he gets the pacemaker put in, and he's discharged. And they are down in Vancouver with no vehicle to figure out, how do we get home? What does this look like? So, we were lucky. My husband took some time off work, drove down, and then drove them back. But they're driving through the canyon in the middle of a snowstorm, and it's not ideal. And that is something that so many of our patients in the north face. And so we've really got to make this happen. We don't have a choice. We need this. I think, when they opened the cancer clinic here, for so long it was said that, they can't do these type of treatments in the north. It's not possible. Well, now they're doing world-class cancer treatments at the BC Cancer Agency in Prince George, and that's phenomenal. Our next biggest gap is cardiac care, and it is a continuation of that cancer clinic, of making sure that we are bringing these levels of care that we deserve in the north. And so we have to do a lot of advocacy for it. And you'll probably hear us talk all the time
Yeah.
about the need for cardiac care, and we will keep we will keep saying that, that same thing until we've got this gap closed.
Yeah. That's actually something I'd like to talk about because cardiac care, like, is hugely important. The two family members in my family, like,
Yep.
they're my father and grandfather. And so that I feel is going to fall onto me
Yeah.
genetically, right?
Yep.
And for as much as I know about cardiac care, I know, like, it's genetics, I know it's food, diet, stuff
Yep.
like that. But even if you have, like, a perfect diet and you exercise all the time, you could still hit that genetics button.
Absolutely, no one is immune, and I think,
Yeah.
you know, it's one of those big red flags that it's going to touch someone in our life, if not ourselves. And so making sure that we are equipped in the North to bring the care that we need to our patients, I think that's, we deserve it. We deserve that level of care here, and I think, you know, it's gonna fall on our generation to make sure that we bring this level of care to our community, and to the North. We've got likely 6 years on the tower build. We've got to staff it, we've got to staff the teams, there's lots of moving parts to it. But we can't go without this level of care in the North. It's been too long, and we can't continue to wait for it.
Yeah, it'll really be something to see that here finally. Yeah.
I think, you know, when we do the first stint in Prince George, or we do, you know, that first patient that we typically would have sent down to St. Paul's and we can keep them here, that's going to be a really poignant day, I think, for all of our whole region.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's exciting. Yeah. Well, hopefully it happens sooner than later.
I
But
hope so.
when that tower gets put in, will it be available at that time? Is that the?
That's the goal. So the goal will be to have, when the tower opens, to have the cardiac care unit ready to go. Again, that's why they've started doing things currently in the current build of the hospital, so that we can start, because it's, you know, it's not a build it and they will come. We have to start building the muscle, building that team right now, so that when we move into the tower, we've got the teams in place ready to go. So, you know, there's so many moving parts to this. We know staffing is a huge issue, but it's if we have to start now and start building that out, so that 6-7 years when the tower's done, we're ready to open when it's ready.
Yeah, right on. Good luck with that.
We'll need it. It's a big one, but I think, you know, I keep going back to the cancer clinic. We, for so long, no, that can't happen in the North, and it's happening now here. And so this is, again, cardiac touches, I mean, me and you both, father-in-law, and your dad and your grandfather, I mean, it touches all of us. It's something that we have to do.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and for me, being male and being likely, like, I do need to think about that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the timeframes, I think, you know, quite often people don't realize that when we're sending patients down to St. Paul's and to Kelowna and Victoria and Vancouver, the wait time. So the wait time for a patient down south is significantly less than the wait time for a patient in the North, because in the North, we're triaging here in Prince George and waiting for a bed to open up, and then we're transporting down. If a patient comes in during that transport, they will get that bed. So because we don't hold a bed in the North for cardiac, or down south for cardiac patients, we have to wait for beds to open. So that length of time is concerning, very concerning.
Wow.
And so, you know, we're just starting to dive into, for Spirit of the North, we're just starting to dive into, okay, what does this look like? Because we want to tell these stories. Because we have to keep the pressure on. We have to keep making sure that with this tower that the pressure is on for that interventional cardiac care. We can't let off on this.
Yeah. And that was where An Evening in India came in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was huge when they asked people, you know, to consider donating and get up, and I saw that lineup, like, huge.
It was those are, I think, at all the events when they start, when you make the case and then you do the ask, like, this is what we're hoping to accomplish tonight. Prince George never ceases to amaze, just with the amount of people that put their hand up and say, yeah, I want to help the patients in the North. I want to help my brother or my sister or my father. That's I think what sets Prince George apart. That's what makes it so special, is that we're just willing to do whatever we need to to make sure that we've got what we need in the north. And Evening in India was, I think, even when they were doing, they went through and asked, you know, do you know someone that's had a cardiac incident? Have you had a cardiac incident? Do you know someone that's been hooked up to an ECG? They went through this series of questions, and I think it was like 3 questions in, everybody in the room, 300 people were standing up because they had been affected by cardiac. That's so telling in that space.
Yeah.
That, wow, there's, you know, this does touch all of us.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then they had that auction, which was
Yes.
amazing. I when they announced the Taj Mahal tour, and
Yeah,
I think I was like, I grabbed my phone and I text my wife, and I'm like, "There's Taj Mahal tour, like, let's bid on this," you know. And by the time, you know, she responded back and was like, "That sounds great," I think it was up to like $7,500,
Yeah.
and
It
it's
goes
just like,
quick.
wow, yeah, people were just bidding here and there,
Right?
and
It's so
yeah,
fun.
yeah, it was.
The live
It-
auctions are a blast. We
yeah.
love them.
it was fun watching the people almost kind of fight over it, right? Like
Yeah,
the
exactly.
auctioneers points over here, you know, 1,000 over here, 2,000,
Yeah,
3,000.
exactly. You go back and forth, and it's something different. It's something fun.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
do that at our gala and at Evening in India, and it's just, man, it's a good time.
Yeah, yeah, really good time. Yeah. Another good time is the Festival of Trees.
Yes.
Now I saw that this year. I hadn't seen it for a couple years, and I don't know if that was because of COVID or.
Yeah,
if
we
it
went
just-
through so it was canceled in 2020, COVID, and then 2021 it was we had to do like quadrants of people because you could only have like 50 people in a certain area, I think it was. So it's gone through went through, as everyone, did some COVID awkwardness with it, but we came back. We've only ever paused for 2020, and last year we came back we'd done an outdoor market, which was really cool. We had an ice rink out front or tourism put out the ice rink, and it was great. Russell AV had the big screens going out there with movies, and we had hot chocolate and different vendors outside. And then inside, of course, was all the trees that were beautiful. And it was really important for us to make sure that it was big this past year, because it was the 31st anniversary. And so I think after you do 30 is just a celebration in and of itself. But 31 was, okay, what does festival look like moving forward? And so we were able to tweak a few things and change it up. A couple of years back, we went down to a 5-day festival from a 10-day festival. And that helped with making sure that, you know, this is our signature fundraiser. It's the biggest fundraiser that we do every year, really making sure that we keep those costs down and bring in the most amount of dollars with festival. And yeah, this was great. And it's spring, and we've already got trees for next year. We've got the theme picked out. Volunteers are meeting. Warehouse is taking shape. Everything is moving towards this next November.
Yeah, that one's super cool because just the trees are all so good.
They're
Like,
so
all
good.
so good.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's unbelievable the amount of work, because I've never seen a tree like that in anybody's house. Right.
Right.
So you think you're making like an elaborate tree at home, right? And then
Yep.
you go out to festival and you look and you're just like blown away by even was it I shouldn't say the brand name, but there was a brand name with coffee cups
Yep.
all over
Yep.
it. And I thought
It's
that
beautiful.
looks so creative. Yeah.
These designers do some incredible trees. I learned my first year with Spirit. I did my tree after festival, and it was like, no, it did not look good. So I do it beforehand now because I know I won't compare to what these designers do. They're amazing. But some of the ideas, some of the creative thoughts that they come up with, like I would never even think to make it a Christmas tree, and it's the coolest thing. So,
Yeah.
so we're going to go with a Whoville theme this year. So we're really excited
Whoville.
about that. Yep. So Grinch, Whoville, lots of bright colors. It'll be super bright this year, and we're excited for it.
Yeah. There was a really nice Grinch tree. I think there might have been 2 of them.
Yeah, there was 2 really
Yeah.
cool Grinch trees this past year,
Yeah.
and we were
yeah.
like, hey, we should have that next year.
So that's going to be the theme.
Yep, we'll do a
Oh.
Grinch theme, so you'll see lots of Whoville characters and lots of bright colors, very family friendly. I mean, festival is all about bringing kids down and working with them in the children's workshop and doing
Yeah.
the story times with them, and it's all about kids. And so we just want to bring smiles to everyone and help kick off the holiday season.
Yeah. Actually, that workshop it's important to you, because I remember you asking me to come get a photo of it.
Yeah. So we had a longtime volunteer. Her name was Carol, and she passed away a couple of years ago. And she had always run the children's workshop. And Carol was just this quiet force behind festivals. She had been on the committee since its inception. And Carol, she just set a bar, I think, that is just was incredible. And so we've got a plaque done up for her. We call it Carol's Corner. And it's
Nice.
where kids can come, and we've got storytellers that come in and read books to kids within the children's workshop. And it's just a really special area. I think, at festival, it's super busy. For us, it's 10 days of full out running, planning, organizing. It's so much work for our committee. And you always try and find those moments at festival where you can just go and have a quiet moment and just, enjoy it and kind of be in that moment and love what's happening around you. And so I know for a lot of us, it's going and sitting in the kids' workshop in Carol's Corner and just kind of watching what's happening around you and knowing, oh man, we had part of this. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty neat thing to be a part of. And and it doesn't happen without volunteers. And, I think you'll probably hear me say all the time, volunteers give their time. And I think in life, that is our most precious commodity. Friends will come and go, money will come and go, but time is fleeting. And so when people donate their time and give their passion to work on something that they love, it doesn't get better than that. And I think Festival of Trees is the epitome of that.
Yeah, I agree. Time's the most valuable thing.
It is.
It drives me bananas when somebody asks me, like, can you do something? But, like, I want you to donate. It's just your time. And it's like, that's the one thing I can't get back.
No,
Right.
it's the one thing in
Yeah.
life you'll never get back. And I think,
Yeah.
volunteers, they are the heart and soul of everything that we do. I mean, I look at Spirit and the things that are coming up over the next, even 6 months. It's busy. We've got a lot coming up, and it's fueled and made possible because of volunteers, because people are passionate about giving back to their community and doing something special with their time. And we just can't give that enough respect, and we just can't give that enough thanks, because they make it possible.
Yeah. So let's talk about what's coming up, because I hope
Yeah.
to be a part of it in some way.
Yes, absolutely. We've got Spirit Day coming up. That is our 12-hour radiothon with Pattison Media. So you'll hear us on air all day. We've got teams coming in, and they reach out to all of their contacts for donations. I love Spirit Day because it's a peer-to-peer event, and it's where you see those $20 and $10, $15, $20 donations really add up into significant dollars. And more importantly, it funds these big pieces of equipment that are able to service our friends and family. So that's big. We've got our golf tournament coming up. We pair up with the Prince George Cougars and the Prince George Cougars alumni for a golf tournament every year in July. That one is just a blast. It sells out the year before every single year. And the alumni and the Cougars are so supportive of patients in the North. We're really, really thankful for that partnership and to get to work with them.
What golf course is that at?
PG Golf and Curling Club.
Okay, right in town here.
Yeah, right in
Good.
town. It's a really fun weekend, and the players, they're fantastic. Shout out to the alumni. They're great, and they're good sports. And it's always typically supported cardiac care in the North. So a lot of the pieces that you'll see at UHNBC are made possible because of that golf tournament. So it's pretty cool.
So how does a person get into that tournament then? And do you play with like the alumni? Or?
Yeah, so basically you bid to play with the alumni, and so the alumni are the fifth man on your team. And so it's five golfers per team, shotgun start, 2 teams per hole. And so it's a long day of golf, but it's super fun. We have activities on the course. We theme the tournament every year. So this year we've got a Mexican theme. Last year we had a retro theme. Year before that we had a Hawaiian theme. So we always kind of dress the tournament up. And it's just a great time to connect. That tournament is a tough one. Like, it sells out. So typically we do the player auction and dinner on Friday night. And then Saturday is the golf tournament day. Usually by Saturday afternoon, we're sold out for the next year with teams that are coming back
Wow.
saying, count me in for next year. So
Wow.
we're pretty lucky with that one.
Yeah.
Then after that, we're bringing a new event to Prince George called Hockey Fest, which is like
Heard about
it's
that.
like a big street hockey tournament. It's really big back east, and Prince George is hockey town, so we need to bring that here. And so I think it'll be a draw for the region because it's a pretty cool one. And then we're into Festival of Trees in the end of November. And then we've got a whole bunch of other events sprinkled right across the next couple of months. So it's really busy coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess Festival of Trees, again, that's only 7 months away.
I know, it never stops. Like,
Yeah.
we usually take the month of December not planning festival because we've just wrapped it, but it never works. We're always planning in December for the following year. And so, we went and did all the trees last month. So we've got our sponsors lined up. We've got our events locked in, ready to go. We've got Civic Center booked. Volunteers are starting to meet with their committees and start planning out what they're doing. It's lots of moving parts to that one.
Yeah. Made me curious about when you talked about the designers working on the trees. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean by a designer? Like,
Yeah, so I didn't know this till I started working with Spirit, but so every festival, you have, a business will sponsor a tree to be put in. And then quite often they'll say, okay, we've got this person and this person on our team that want to design the tree. So the designers are the ones that come up with the concept, with the colors that they're going to go with, how their tree is going to be displayed. They work on getting all the gifts for under the tree. They work to design it. Then we've also got a group, this amazing group of volunteers that are designers. So we've had some organizations come in and say, we really want to sponsor a tree, but we don't have anyone that can do it. Do you have someone? And we pair them with a designer, and that designer works to bring their vision to life. And so they spend months planning the trees because it's, the ornaments have to be wired onto the tree. The ornaments are very selective in what they'll bring in and what they'll put on their trees. So it's
no.
it just grows a little bit each year. And yeah, it's wild what they come up with.
Wow. So it's a big job.
It's a really big job, like really big job.
Yeah. Because I thought it was,
Surprising.
I thought a company just kind of got together and went, this is going to be our company tree that we're going to donate. Let's all decorate it, and then here you go.
Nope.
No, okay.
So what they do is, when they put a tree in, we've got, we move into Civic Center and we start setting up kind of the bones of everything. With the draping, Sheldon with Central Display does all the draping for us. We start putting things into place, and then we have to map out where the trees are gonna go and mark off the spaces, because they only get, I think it's 8 by 8 spaces. And then the designers all come in at one time. So all the designers come in and they start decorating their trees at Civic Center.
Oh, wow.
And so it's bananas in there when the doors open and designers come in, but it's so fun. It's probably one of the funnest days at festival.
And that part's not open to the public?
That part's not open to the
Yeah.
public, and you would come in and you would look at the area, and you'd be like, there's no way this is gonna be ready to go tomorrow afternoon. And somehow it magically comes together every year and
Yeah.
looks beautiful by the time we open the doors.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And it's crazy. I never would have thought that.
I never
Yeah.
would have either. There's so many working parts to festival that you have, I don't know, I would just never think of. And again, I go back to the committee and the beauty of those volunteers, because they they think of everything, everything. And there's a plan in place for everything. It's a pretty dynamic group.
Yeah, yeah. And it's also pretty exciting how much those trees sell for. Because there was one that I was looking at and I thought, I can use this tree for years and years
Yep.
and years. Might not be a bad idea to put a bid in on it, just like I was thinking of that
Yep.
Taj Mahal, tour. And I think that tree sold for like $25,000
Yeah.
or something.
They go huge. And it's, I think that's where that case for support comes in, because everyone with festival knows that whatever the tree sells for that is going to the cause. So that is a straight donation to bringing the equipment that we're working on. So last year we were working on a star guide system, which is a big development. Actually, it's just in completion right now at UHNBC. That's a big addition to our diagnostics department in the north. So, you know, everyone that spent money on trees, those dollars go directly to supporting bringing that piece of equipment here. And so we really do we really push and we really make sure that people know the reason why we do festival is because we're trying to fund this new piece of equipment. And so every year we work really hard with Northern Health to come up with what is that ask going to be for festival. We're just in the process of looking at what that's going to look like for festival for this coming year. There's a couple of big projects on the horizon, and so we're just trying to figure out which one is going to align best. And then from there, we'll work to bring that piece of equipment here. And, you know, everyone that comes through the doors at festival, everyone that spends $5 on admission, or everyone that supports the gift shop and buys something at the gift shop, all of that money goes directly to bringing that equipment here. And so it's kind of a win-win all around.
Nice, nice. I got to ask what that story guide is, because I've talked to a lot of people, and I'm not the only one. It feels like it sounds like a telescope, right?
Yeah, it feels like a telescope. So what it is it's an enhanced, basically think of like an enhanced MRI unit. So it will, so what typically happens is patients that have cancer, they will go down for a PET scan, and they'll figure out, okay, what is the treatment plan going to be? They'll start getting treatment. And then 3-6 months later, they'll have to go down for another PET scan to see, are they responding to the treatment plan? And this Star Guide will work to alleviate that second trip for a PET scan. Won't replace a PET scan, but it will save them having to go down south to see the progress on the treatment that they're receiving. So that's a big piece. I mean, that'll save a lot of secondary trips for a lot of patients. And then if we one day can get a PET scan here, I think that would be, you know, those are two really big pieces that we send people away for. That'll alleviate a lot of that travel for our patients.
Wow, so much involved. Like, that's two pieces of machinery, right?
Yeah, it's crazy when you start getting into, you know, looking at the gaps and looking at, okay, what is the most pressing gap right now? I mean, everything is a competing priority, but we really have to go, okay, where is the bulk of the patients, and what is going to have the biggest impact on our patients? And, you know, we always look to save the travel, eliminate the wait times, reduce costs for our patients, and keep them at home. So when we look to that, we have to go, okay, which of all of these requests right now, which one is going to affect the most patients positively? And that's the one that we work at closing.
Yeah. Let's try something. I want to ask, like, I don't know if you have enough knowledge on this or not. You sound like
probably
you do.
Not.
No? But, okay. If you were, like, if the government or, you know, somebody just came up and said, Aimee, I've got $5 million, just use it somehow. Like, yeah.
I wish.
What would you do? What comes to mind that we need in Prince George that would kind of benefit everybody?
Oh man, there's so many needs. I think there's an argument right across the board. We need mental health beds. We need better supports for mental health. We need addiction supports. We need staffing supports. We need more staffing coming in. We need to close the cardiac gap. We need to keep cancer patients in the north. We need to bring stronger diagnostics to the north. There's so many competing priorities. That's a tough one. I think, I think I would have to I'd probably go process of elimination. We're getting the tower. We know cardiac will be in the tower, so we need support for that tower. Not for the tower in particular, but for cardiac in the tower. That's huge. And that'll be a huge piece that we need to work towards. And then also a PET scan. Those are kind of the two biggest ones that I see so many, we see so many patients that are affected by that. And cancer and cardiac are kind of our two, they touch everybody.
Yeah.
And so support to either one of those causes I think are huge. But it doesn't take away from, we're working on a crash crash cart for pediatrics right now.
Hmm.
And as a mom, you think of that and it's,
Yeah.
oh, yes, we need that. So there's a lot of equipment that we need.
How can you not already have a crash cart for that?
So they
Right?
do. So some of it is, sometimes they have the equipment, but they need an upgraded, they need better equipment.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's, in the north, departments share. And so if we can have a department not share, that's ideal.
Mm.
That's what's happening right now. So if we can have a department not share, that's what we want. We want one in this department, one in pediatrics. And so they've got
Okay.
their own. But the list is endless
Yeah.
of what we need in the north. And so it's really just looking at, okay, who's the patient load and how do we work to service this and
Yeah.
how do we close
Boy.
this?
Well, you touched on mental health, and
Yeah.
is that something Spirit of the North works with?
It is, yeah. Mental health is a
Hmm.
big one. So we actually this past year, so going back 2 years, we had done. So at Christmas time, we always go around. Santa Claus comes down from the North Pole, and we go around with him and give toys to kids in pediatrics and visit new moms in maternity. And we took Santa to our adolescent psychiatry assessment unit, which services all of northern BC.
Huh.
And we went in that unit and we came out and we said, we've got to support this. We've got to support this unit. What can we do? And they've got every department at the hospital has really great people that are looking at what they can do and how they can support their patients. And so we worked with a team in APAU, and they came up with a wish list of this full redevelopment of APAU and just creating a unit that really fosters putting supports in place for youth, giving them tools so that when they go back home, they've got the tools that they need to go back to their life. And so the incredible, last Spirit Day, we had an incredible donation from the Kiwanis team, the Kiwanis ALFS team.
Oh, yeah.
They made an incredible donation to our adolescent psychiatry assessment unit. So the equipment has started to arrive there. The unit is taking shape. So we've got these sound shell chairs that have come in, which remove, basically the youth can sit in them, and it's just this really calming space. So they help to remove youth from crisis when they're in crisis and calm things down. They've got projectors going all down the hallway that have games that'll be displayed on the floor. Again,
Oh, yeah.
you don't want a youth to feel like they're in a hospital when they're in APAU. We want to give them the supports that they need and the tools that they need to go back home. And so the equipment that they've brought in, that they're working at putting in place right now, is really making it not feel like an institution, making it not feel like a hospital, but making it feel like a safe place where they can get the help that they need and get the supports in place to head back home. So, mental health is a big one. I think it's something that we're going to keep seeing more and more and more of, and it's something that we really have to work to support.
Yeah. Is that happening in Prince George?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's happening right now. So
Oh.
the sound chairs are in place. They've got new beds coming in. They've got so all the equipment is behavioral equipment, so it's safe for the youth.
Mhm.
So all of it has started to arrive, and the teams work at putting it all into action. And yeah, it's going to be a really calming, nice space. And I think
Yeah.
we look at the before and after. It's going to be quite a drastic shift there.
Yeah.
And that's one we're really proud of.
Yeah. You should bring me in there to see it sometime.
We
I'd
definitely will bring you
yeah.
for a tour, and
Yeah.
you can kind of take pictures and do a video and see just how it looks so much different, and how it's really, the team on the ground there was really talking about how do we need to create an environment of peace and stability and safety and encouragement for these youth, and they've worked really hard at doing that. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see it take shape. As a mom, I think that's a big one. We want to make sure our kids are taken care of.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's something that, our age, when we were in high school, right? It's not something we ever thought about,
No,
right?
I don't even think we really talked about it, and I
Yeah,
think now
yeah.
we talk about mental health a lot more, and I think that's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's something that we've got to continue to get supports in place, because it's something that's just going to keep growing. The addiction crisis that's happening is huge, and so we've got to make sure that we've got pieces in place and infrastructure in place and programs in place that can support people and meet them where they're at.
Yeah. It's funny, like, it's not funny, I mean, but it's interesting when you talk about it with somebody, because, you'll sit down, you'll have a conversation, and you'll learn about something, some kind of mental health issue, and you'll go, I think I had that when I was a kid, you know?
Right, we
And
never talked about it.
yeah, and then, but then there's stuff as simple as like ADHD,
Yep.
which had a stigma, but it's kind of gone away now.
Yes.
And it's kind of like people almost, they brag about it, right? That,
Yeah.
oh, I've got ADHD,
It's,
and
it's just, we've normalized things, and I think it's probably a good thing to
Yeah.
keep talking. I mean, I know with my kids, I'm always, talking with them. You talk to me about where you're at, how you're feeling, because it's
Yeah.
I think when we were kids, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have all of the, information is constantly coming at our kids all the time now, and I think that's a big piece that changes things. I mean,
you think so?
I do, because well, I'm no expert at all, but like when I went home from school, sometimes I'd talk on the phone to my girlfriends, but that was it. You left school and it was, okay, now you're done. And now they don't have that break, I don't think, when with the cell phones, it's constant.
Yeah. It makes sense, like having like information just kind of coming at you, right?
All the time.
And you've got to process it, right?
Exactly, and I don't think we
Yeah.
give them enough time to process information, and I think that's a big thing for our kids.
Yeah, yeah. One thing that just kind of made me think about is, this is funny because the type of music that I listen to compared to my family is
Yeah.
very different. I'll turn on those old hair metal bands.
Yep.
You remember those, right?
I do.
And it calms me down.
Yeah,
But I've listened to it my whole life because when I was in high school, my family we billeted the Quesnel Millionaires, right?
oh, I didn't know that, oh, neat.
Yeah, yeah. So I grew up in Quesnel. We billeted the Quesnel Millionaires, so they came and stayed with us. I think we had them for a couple years, a couple guys,
Cool,
and they all were into that kind of music. So I was like AC/DC
Yeah,
and Metallica and all that. And it's just kind of what I ended up growing up listening to. I copied all their tapes, right? And when
Yeah.
they left, I still listened to it. And now, if I'm on a road trip or something and I'm listening to music that doesn't have electric guitar,
yeah.
it almost makes me tense. Like I'm holding onto the steering wheel, white knuckles, and I'm just like, I need to have that electric guitar.
Yeah,
drum.
exactly. Oh, that's
Yeah,
funny. That's
yeah.
so funny. I get it though.
But that's how I feel, and I wonder if that was one of those things that kind of helped. Maybe when I was younger, it
Yeah,
helped.
like, I don't know, I think we all kind of have coping, we come up with our coping mechanisms and how we deal with things. But I think it's kids just talk about it more, they talk about their feelings more openly now, where I know we didn't when I was growing up very much. And so I think it's nice to see them talking about their emotions and about their feelings and making sure that they know that, there is help available, there is supports available, and we have to just make sure that those are readily available and that kids know about them all the time, because it's a different world.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just way different.
Yeah, yeah. So many people just with different ideas too of how to like
Yeah.
handle a situation,
Yeah.
and so different from how we dealt with things as kids.
Oh, totally. And no one idea is better than the other. I think it has to be very individualized and to figure out what works for each of us. And I know from a hospital, like from an APAU lens, it's just making sure that, it's there to treat the youth when they're in crisis, give them the supports that they need so that they can go home and continue to fill their tool belt with tools that they need to be able to function in their life, and it's a safe place for them. And it was just, I don't know, that one, it just holds a really special place. I know for me and a couple of members on my team, it's just got a really special place in our hearts to make sure that it's got everything that it needs to be that safe space for our kids. That's a huge for us.
Yeah. Do they have music there?
They do.
Like-
So they've got these, one of the pieces that they've ordered is, I'm going to butcher this description, but it's like, so they wear headphones,
Yeah.
but it's a drum kit, but it plays into the headphones, so it doesn't disturb the kids around them. They've got a guitar, they've got a drum set, I think they've got maybe a piano, I could be wrong with the piano, but they've got a couple of new pieces that are coming in. Again, just to, maybe teach a coping mechanism for a child. Maybe music is that coping mechanism for them, or is something new that they want to channel their energy to. Great. So it's
Yeah.
just about exposing them to new things. So I'm really excited for that. I think it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, those were exactly what I was thinking of when I asked.
Oh,
It was
okay.
like
Oh,
the
neat.
drums
Yeah.
or the guitar, yeah.
They were so cool, and it was
Yeah.
the team on the ground, that run APAU saw this and said, we need to add this, and so they added it, and
Yeah.
it's really cool. So we're the funders, so we're happy to say absolutely yes, let's do this, and then, they take care of setting it all up and let us know when it's done, and we come in and just get to, and we've connected with, the team, pretty closely there to make sure that everything that they need, they've got.
Mhm.
So we're pretty excited about it.
Nice, nice. Yeah, you just think back to think old history,
Yep,
right? You got your Mozart and Beethoven, right?
yep,
And then you got Van Gogh, who was
Yep.
painting. Now, they kind of had mental health issues. Like if you look back at their lifestyle and things that they did. I mean, Van Gogh cut his ear off.
yeah, this
But-
is true.
But that art kind of comes out, and whether that's music or painting,
Yeah.
it
And it's funny, that was one of the things that they wanted to bring into this space was more tools for kids. So they've brought in, different crafts for them to work on, to figure out, do I like painting? Is that something that I want to continue doing? Music, is that something that I want to continue doing? They've really worked hard at creating this space that allows them to figure out what it is that helps them thrive. And so some of the additions that they're bringing in, I just think it's not cutting edge, but it is, I think it's a little bit innovative, because it's not
Yeah.
that traditional, medical lens on it. It's also, it's this holistic approach of the environment and fostering a good environment. That's got a lot of weight and a lot of merit.
Yeah, and somebody who's just distracted in school
Yep.
might just need something like that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And it just helps them connect differently, so that when they are out of that crisis and they go home, they've got those new strategies that they can pull on to hopefully help do better, and to keep those supports in place to continue to help them thrive. That unit services right across the region. So that's huge. I again, as a mom, I can't, if my child was in crisis and they were being sent to Prince George for care, I would want to make sure that they have the best level of care that they need. That would be very trying. So that's kind of the role that we get to play, and we're only able to do that because of our donors that truly make it possible.
Yeah. There's a high school in town whose part of their course is to take the kids out of the school
Yeah.
and learn in the outdoors. Like when I say in the outdoors, I mean like in the outdoors, in the snow, like
Oh,
in the bush.
neat.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So, and they're like one of the only places where, you're allowed to bring a knife to school, like to class,
neat.
right? They're learning trapping, I believe. They're learning about like a lot of
So neat.
forestry stuff, and they're out in it, right?
That's huge.
And yeah, and what's interesting about it is that they're disguising the learning as this kind of outdoor adventure, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how they do it, but they work math into it. They work their science. It's probably very heavily science-based, right?
Oh, that's so neat.
Yeah, but it's kind of like an alternative learning for kids who can't kind of sit still in the classroom. I'm not
Yeah.
sure, but if you were to put me in that, with the option of sitting in a classroom at a desk or going out to
Right.
a lake.
All day long.
Yeah, right? And so that makes me wonder, like, maybe our education system does need a shift. Maybe it's not desks and teachers in front of the class,
Yeah, well, see, when I was in elementary school, I went to Montessori. So we never had desks until, I think I started high school was the first time that I actually had a desk. And so it was,
Really?
we used to sit on the floor, and it was material based. So when we're learning to do math, it was with golden beads. But that's how you would, it's material based. So you would touch and hold the math that you're working on. It was really different,
Huh.
very different approach to the regular schools that my kids go to, but very neat. I
Wow.
can't complain.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, that reminds me, I met met you at, was it a volleyball game or badminton? One of your kids played.
Volleyball.
Basketball.
Oh, basketball. My
Basketball,
oldest,
yeah.
basketball.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
your kids are into sports.
Yeah, my oldest is a basketball player. She loves basketball.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then my middle one loves curling. That's her sport.
Curling?
Curling.
No
Like, that's
kidding.
her sport. And then my youngest is she doesn't play hockey. She wants to start playing hockey, but
Uh-huh.
can tell you every stat of probably every cougar, and
Oh,
yeah,
no kidding?
she's pretty
Oh, yeah.
impressive.
Is she gonna be at the golf tournament? Just
No,
to kinda
she will
meet
not.
everyone? No, no? Too young for that, eh?
Too young for that. She won't
Yeah.
be there, but she'll
Oh, yeah.
she'll be mad at me, I'm sure.
Yeah, one day. Yeah, the golf tournament actually sounds interesting because, you know, you're gonna be playing with maybe a future NHL star and don't even know
Absolutely,
it
yeah.
at the time.
Or past NHL, like,
Yeah.
Eric usually comes up, Eric Brewer, Dan Hemmes usually comes up.
Oh, yeah.
The guys are great. Tyler Bruff heads up the alumni, and they just do such a great job, and they're really passionate about supporting patients, and, yeah, I can't say enough good things about how awesome they are to work with, and it's a fun
Yeah.
weekend, and it's cool to see the tournament grow every year. Like, every year it gets a little bit better, to the point where we're like, oh, it can't, like, we're capped, it can't grow anymore, and then it grows just a little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a fun one. We're
Wait.
really excited.
Yeah, you might have to expand to a couple different courses.
We've looked at how to expand that one. I don't know that we can. Like, we've looked at, do you do different tee times? I don't know, but it's just a really great core group,
Mhm.
that plan it every year. Again, this committee gets together, they start in January, and they plan the tournament right the way through, just end of June. And they plan every detail of it, and
Wow.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They're a pretty fun group.
That sounds like a really fun one. And having the two teams kind of compete against each other on the same hole,
Yeah.
that sounds fun.
Well, and then there's just so
Yeah.
much intermingling between the teams, right? You've got the sponsor team that's got their 4 players, and then their alumni, and another team golfing with them, and it's just a fun day. You get to know people and hang out, and hopefully the weather's nice, and so,
Yeah.
yeah, it's fun.
So you say you bid on the player?
Yeah,
So-
we do a live auction, and you bid
Oh.
on your 5th player. So,
Yeah.
the alumni they are bid on, and then they come and they golf with your team. So it's pretty cool.
Oh.
They're good sports.
So those big names like Ham Hughes and Brewer,
Yeah,
they bring in probably a lot.
they do. They
Yeah.
go for quite a bit, and again, like they're just great sports.
Yeah.
They know that it's a straight donation to, if we're working on an echo ultrasound, if we're working on whatever piece we're working on, they know that it's that donation towards that piece of equipment, and they're happy to do it, and they're awesome.
What a great way to volunteer, like you get to play golf.
Right? It's pretty fun.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Well, Amy, we've been chatting for an hour.
Oh, wow.
So
Well, that
we
was
should-
easy. I thought that would
yeah.
be, way worse.
No.
It's like, I can't talk for an
Thank you,
hour.
Jeff. Yeah. Was there anything that I might have missed that you wanted to kind of talk about Spirit or?
Ooh, I don't think so. I'll update you once. We've got a couple of big pieces that look like they're coming down the pipe. So as soon as I've got okays to be public about them, I'll definitely let you know, and
Right on.
we can do some pieces on that and talk about them.
Yeah.
So,
Cool. I want to help out with whatever you're
oh,
doing.
thank
so,
you. We appreciate,
yeah.
we can't do it without the help, so thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Of course.
Awesome.
Okay, Amy, great
Thank
having
you
you
so
again.
much.
Thank you.